My name is Barton, and God, it's still hard to imagine myself saying this, but I'm an author. If you're watching this, then you've got to be someone like me that had a desire to write a book, and that's something that from a fairly young age I've always wanted to do, and didn't think that I could ever do something like that. It seemed like a pie-in-the-sky goal for me. Definitely put it on my bucket list in my early 20s, and it stayed there for many, many years. It just kind of percolated inside of me, and I got to tell you, it's work to write a book, definitely. But the hardest part for me, far and away, was to start. I read a quotation some time ago, Zane Grey. He says, the difficulty, the ordeal, is to start. And I found that very true for me. The actual writing of the book, as difficult as it was nothing compared to the ordeal of getting started in this thing. And the book that I wrote is a book called Beyond Illusions. And I certainly had a lot of illusions to get myself beyond. From a very young age, I realized that I had some differences from my peers. It was second grade, and I started looking around and realized I don't read, I don't write, I don't do arithmetic like my fellow students. And it turns out that I had these learning disabilities, a fairly severe case of dyslexia. And I got some resource classes, and they helped me to start catching up with my peers. But it wasn't until high school where I started to really hold my own academically. And then in college, I learned how to learn. And in college, I realized that it wasn't a learning disability, that dyslexia is really a learning difference. And so when I figured out how I learn and began to learn quicker and more effectively, I started to really catch up, and I did excel in college. However, leaving college and into a career, I kept a lot of the illusions that I had, a lot of these fixed beliefs about what I was capable of doing in terms of communicating myself in a way on paper that would be effective. And so here I am with this desire burning in me to write a book, and a belief system that says I can't write a book. And so getting started was really a very difficult thing for me. So the first thing I needed was a belief that I could do this. The second thing was a commitment to actually get it done. And for me, the commitment was something that kind of grew and grew and grew. At some point, I finally I hooked up with someone that was kind of a mentor to me to speak in my writing, and this fellow showed me some tricks and some of the trade, and helped me to find out that just getting myself an outline was a key to getting started. Once I had that outline written down, this project went from pipe dream to something that really maybe I can get my mind around. And just to see, even as an outline, as I begin to break up that outline and kind of flesh this out, it became much more believable, and frankly, I got excited about the idea. So just using these simple ideas, I started to flesh this outline out into chapters, and it started to coalesce, and God, it was almost like giving birth to a separate entity that would live on its own. And so now I have a book that is something that is influencing people. I mean, I've been really successful with this book. There's over 25,000 copies that are all over the world now, and it's fun to get fan mail from people saying, hey, how they were experiencing my take on life and my idea of positive perception that I wrote in my book. I've changed lives with this process. This book has done some good in the world, but there's a pretty steep learning curve. For me, a coach was really important. The process of writing this book, I learned how to write a book. But there's a lot of other things, the cover design and the text design. I made a lot of mistakes and cost myself a lot of money. I went through and had it done, and then the second edition, I had it done differently because I didn't like how it was done, and each time I was trying to cut some corners and save a little bit of money. I wish I had just had some kind of a framework so that I could do this one time and invest the right way and do it the right way. Well, the idea to publish or to self-publish, that was a big question. I wish I'd had somebody that had come along that could teach me kind of the ins and outs of that process as well. I had to learn it from trial and error. So I hope that you will not have to go through some of the grief that I went through. But guys, I got to tell you, this is a book that is alive. It is helping people, and it's been very gratifying, and frankly, very financially successful as well. I've made tens of thousands of dollars because I took that desire that was burning into me, and I took some of my life experience, and I found out that I'm creative. I put it in a book, and I'm changing lives. So believe that you can start. Invest in some kind of a system that will help you to get started. And man, you can go change the world like I'm starting to change the world as well. Write a book.